You can listen to the Canadian Gothic early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport. 186 episodes of Keep Canada Weird, our show in which we collect and gawk at the unique and offbeat news stories over the past week. It's upon us. We're here. Let's do it. But before we get into the stories, let me ask you, how are you doing over there on, for what a lot of people is probably Halloween, or maybe the day after Halloween when most people are hearing this?
Yeah, so today is Wednesday, but this episode will come out on Friday, which is October 31st, which is Halloween. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited, even though I don't really get any trick-or-treaters or anything like that where I'm living. But I do have some festivities planned. I'm going to a Halloween dance, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be great dancing. Have you carved any pumpkins?
No.
We did it tonight. Boys and I carved 3 pumpkins tonight. They're on our doorstep, so that was a lot of fun, although it's disgusting to pull all the guts out of the inside of a pumpkin. But it's fun to do it. But do you know that Nova Scotia is under like a special weather alert or weather statement related to Halloween? The 31st of October, Halloween, is supposed to be heavy wind and heavy rain here in Nova Scotia. So we're all pretty worried about what that means for the trick-or-treaters. Many people who are listening to our voices now will know what has become of trick-or-treating here in Nova Scotia. But some people are suspecting they may delay it a day to like Saturday or something when the weather's supposed to be better. Or some people are thinking the kids are just going to have to adapt their costumes into some kind of like, I'm like wet Frankenstein, or I'm a Dracula with a raincoat.
Right. Some communities in Cape Breton have already rescheduled their Halloweens to the day prior. So it'll be tomorrow, Thursday, the 30th. So that's already happened in a few communities.
You know, I'm hoping that some communities delay it to the day after, so that way I can get 2 Halloweens. Because if, like, let's say if you told me that your community delayed it to Saturday, I would take my boys out here in the rain Friday, trick or treat like crazy. First thing in the morning Saturday, jump in the car, come down to your place, take over your neighborhood Saturday, get twice as much candy. That could be kind of cool. Do a bit of like Halloween time travel.
Well, I wouldn't allow you in my community to double dip, is what you're trying to do. And in fact, I would tell everybody he's coming from another community that had Halloween yesterday. He's not allowed. Arrest him. Those types of things.
Okay. Let's move away from Halloween. We've done enough Halloween stuff. We've talked about it at the beginning of this episode. We've released our Halloween bonus episode in which yourself, myself, and Miss Madeline Klein heard a collection of listener ghost stories. Now it's time to start keeping Canada weird. But what we have to do before we do that is talk about our special drinks. I'm holding in my hand a piping hot tea that I made just before we came live here. Why tea, you ask? I don't know. I just had an urge today to have like a nice tea. I thought, I got the baseball game ahead of me. Blue Jays are playing tonight. So I wanted to have like a little dose of caffeine, but I just wanted like a warm, comfortable drink in my hand. And it's autumn. Tea is like an autumnal drink. What do you got?
I have a Gatorade Zero.
Oh, yeah. I love those.
Yeah, me too. And it's berry flavor, so it's kind of a pinkish color.
Okay, that's
And
nice.
it is, as the zero in the name suggests, it is zero sugar. So I am enjoying a nice, refreshing, zero sugar Gatorade that I already started and dipped into during my supper. And now I can even smell it. So delicious.
Remember when we were kids, Gatorade was like marketed as like an energy, like not an energy drink, but like as like a health, sport, fitness thing. Is that still the case? Do they still do that? Because Gatorade is a pretty sugary drink.
Yeah, I don't know how they advertise it now. I don't have television, so I don't know how they handle that. You have to email them.
Well, speaking of how people handle things, let's get right into our first story. I don't know if we brought this upon the vulnerable across Canada, but hopefully this is the last story related to scams and scamming in Canada that we'll have to talk about. And I think it may be because I don't know what else could come next because this whole thing has come full circle as we've unpacked scamming in Canada over the last probably 5 or 6 episodes of Keep Canada Weird. We've been talking a lot about scams, and it started with these kind of low-hanging fruit scams, mainly targeting the vulnerable and the elderly that involved, calling them up and pretending to be bank investigators or pretending to be grandchildren in crisis or romance scams, all these sorts of things. Then we heard about the sleight of hand type talented scams. We heard about the quick change scam in which people were going into stores and just overwhelming the cashiers with odd requests for breaking bills and stuff to the point that they would end up with more money. I thought it was all behind us, but tonight it's all going to come full circle. We have a scam that marries technology with a sleight of hand technique. Listen to the story of the Hairbrush Heist, aka Canada's fast refund scam.
Joseph Jahari has been a fixture in Yaletown for decades, welcoming clients to Pink Lime Salon and Spa. In all that time, he's never experienced anything like what happened when this man came in to buy a $20 hairbrush.
They want to put it on their credit card, but they took the machine, and instead of them putting their PIN number, they refund themselves $4,900.
The man tore the receipt from the machine and then abruptly left without even taking the hairbrush. Jahari reported the theft to police. After a lengthy back and forth with Moneris, the company that processes the transactions, he's finally getting the $4,900 back. But the company didn't agree to that until being contacted by CTV News.
I just want all the business to be aware of what's going on and really have your cameras. That helps always because that's the only way you're going to notify the client so it's coming into your salon.
Since speaking with Jahari about the fraud, we've managed to track down one business in Alberta and 2 in Ontario that have fallen victim to the same scam. They each provided us with pictures and videos showing the same man using the same technique to steal thousands of dollars in a matter of seconds. In Belleville, Ontario, he hit a shop called T-Shirt Explosion. A man got away with $4,999.99, 1 cent below the refund limit on the machine. Some of the businesses have been compensated by Moneris, but some have not. They're all advising others to keep a close eye when customers are handling sales terminals.
So this is a weird one, and I did a bit of reading on this, and what I couldn't get my head around is it the same guy, like this one person is going across Canada doing this? Because like in that clip, they said the news reporter was covering initially the salon in Vancouver where someone went in to buy the $20 hairbrush, instead did something very quickly and crafty on the point of sale terminal, like the debit machine thing, where he managed to refund himself. But the news reporter said, like, in the same person was seen in Ontario and in this place and in that place. So it's just one guy who knows how to do this?
Yeah, it appears that way. It's the one guy maybe that thought of it. I've never heard of anybody doing this before. I'm sure people maybe have, and maybe he heard it from somebody else, maybe on the dark web or something. They were talking about it, but
my mind was going like, this company Moneris, which is the company that supplies the point of sales terminals, they call them POS machines, point of sale. But I kind of thought like they're like POS machines, like piece of poop.
Oh, that's really immature.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like, does this guy know something specific about the technology behind the point of sale terminals by Moneris? Because if it was this common scam, or if it was this scam that wasn't that hard to do, more people would be doing this. And if all of these people who were victim, these store owners, if they're all using the same company's debit machines, that would imply that maybe Moneris knows who this guy is.
Well, maybe he worked for Moneris. And
that's our old engineer.
Yeah. Or they worked in the tech side of this company, and they know a little bit of the ins and outs of what the refund limits are, when possibly the updates are to these systems so that the things reset. Like, as there was one retail owner that had set their refund limit to $100 because they were a restaurant. But then when the update to the software and the machine happened, then that reset his refund limit to $5,000 again. And this individual knew that somehow, and then came in after that happened and got the $5,000 through this same scam. So it leads me to believe that this person is on the inside of the debit company and knows when the updates are.
Wow, that's pretty surprising that this isn't a bigger thing, because you could do this. Like in these clips, we see that it only takes this guy a second. He goes to buy something, they pass in the little device. He presses a couple keys and then he walks out of there with what he's doing is, again, the refund limit, like the most the machine will give out is $5,000. In some of the cases, he's refunding himself $4,999.99. And it takes him just a second to walk out of there with basically $5,000. It seems like what needs to happen is Moneris needs to fix the technology. Like there should be no reason it happens that quick. I didn't think this would be possible. And when I heard this scam, again, thinking of our coverage of scams in Canada, it does kind of go full circle, because whatever he's doing with his hands on this device is pretty quick and technical. But at the same time, it's this like low-hanging fruit scam against a cashier who's probably too busy to carefully watch you anyway.
Right. And the thing about a news coverage situation like this is that maybe he is the only person going around doing this scam, but now they've alerted the entire country.
Yeah.
And possibly now the world to this type of a scam.
Yeah.
So are we going to see copycat scammers going around doing this to debit machines?
It's a double-edged sword, though.
Forward.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because these companies, if they want their money back from that company, Moneris, they kind of need to go public and get like the news to ask for a statement and then get them to give the money back. So they kind of have to go public. But yeah, it does let a lot of scammers and fraudsters know that there's this really easy way to get $4,999.99.
Right.
One last thought on this is, if it was this easy thing to do, there are so many people who work closely with debit machines, like working at stores, that there would be enough people who know about this kind of loophole or this trick to do it. If it was this easy and common thing to figure out, more people would be doing this. And that again further tells me that this guy has some secret inside technical knowledge of these devices. And when they do finally catch him, I bet you it will come out that he has defrauded way more stores than this news has even been able to, would even be able to imagine. He's probably been traveling the country doing this for years.
Right. And I think the reason that the general public would not want to participate in this type of a scam, although it seems easy, my assumption would be, if somebody told me that this was possible, my assumption would be that, well, if I'm linking the refund to my bank account.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to clearly be able to trace this transaction, this refund, to my bank account, and then quickly know who I am, and then just arrest me.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that just goes to show that the role that identity theft has to play in so many cyber crimes. I bet you whoever this person is, they're connected with some kind of organized crime ring that dabbles in identity theft. And this person, when he is finally arrested, he probably has a backpack with a whole bunch of fake IDs and a whole bunch of bank cards and everything else.
Yeah.
Either way, let's move away from this story. That's our final scam story of the night, but it is far from our last Canadian crime story of the night. We have a duo of Canadian crime stories that is like nothing we've ever discussed on Keep Canada Weird. Let's take our first break, and when we get back, we're going to go to Sarnia, Ontario, to hear about one of the most unusual stories to ever play out in a Canadian car wash. After this break. Handsome Aaron Airport, I promised you 2 dumb Canadian crime stories from the past week, and boy, do I got them. Let's start with the car wash tale, the car wash chaos in Sarnia, Ontario. This is going to be one of those rare 2-part stories where something so unexpected and so unusual continues to twist and turn through the news to the point that we have to follow along more than just with the initial breaking story. Here's how it starts. Police in Sarnia, Ontario issued a warrant for a 62-year-old woman's arrest after a bizarre incident was caught on camera inside a local car wash of all places. Here's how this story, the story of the car wash chaos in Sarnia, begins.
Sarnia police say they're looking for a woman who caused about $30,000 in damage to a car wash. They released this surveillance video showing a woman driving into the car wash through the exit door. When it closed behind her, the woman gets out of the vehicle and appears to try getting out through a side door. She then gets back in the vehicle and just rams through the front entrance. Police say the suspect is a 62-year-old woman from Windsor who now faces dangerous driving charges.
I like a good car wash story, but for people who are just hearing,
Hold on. You like a good car wash story?
Yeah.
All right. Well, name another car wash
I'm
story.
learning right now that I like a good car wash story. I enjoy going through the car wash. That's my car wash.
I love it.
So how about this? What I should have said is I like a good car wash experience. And this is a good car wash story, which I'm learning right now I also enjoy. For people who are only hearing the audio from this, why don't you talk through what happens, what happened and what we just heard described? Why is there a warrant out for this woman's arrest?
Well, basically, she drives into the wrong end of the car wash. You know, those car washes that you drive into and then your car gets sprayed with all different colors of different things. And is legally washed. So she drives into the wrong end, the end that you're supposed to exit out of, I guess. But she drives in that way. And then the door shuts, you know, the kind of conveyor door that comes down. That shuts, and then she's stuck inside. So not really knowing how to get out, she decides to drive her car through that conveyor door, smashes it and destroys it, and causes $30,000 worth of damage.
Yeah, and leaves the scene. Where the estimate damage is 30,000 would imply that she probably damaged more than just that bay door. She must have damaged some of the equipment as well, I'm guessing. And since the police have gone as far as to like issue a warrant and trying to find this woman, it would imply to me that maybe it isn't an accident. He said like she got stuck and stuff. I don't know if that actually happened. It seems like the exit door was just left open and she just drove in. She got out of her car for a minute and just kind of walked around in the car wash for a second. Then she got back in her car and drove through the bay door that should lift up to let you actually enter. But the fact, again, that they went out with a warrant would imply maybe there's more to it. But what I thought was weird is they issued a warrant for a 62-year-old woman, but they didn't publicly share her information. They didn't share her name or her photo, which they would have to have if they got the warrant. So I think, like from the beginning when I heard this story, I thought, what a crazy thing to happen in the car wash. But also I thought there must be more to this.
Well, here's what I'm thinking that she did. Assuming this woman is nefarious.
Okay.
I think that somebody leaves the car wash. And when you are inside the car wash as a paying customer, you go in the right way, that door closes and the exit door is closed. So then you're in there and then all of the jets and the water and everything, the soap does its thing. And then the exit door opens when you're finished, where they have those blow dryers there.
Love that part.
You drive through that, but that door stays open for probably, I don't know how long, but definitely a moment in time that door stays open. I'm thinking maybe this woman thinks she can get a free car wash.
And it's that simple.
And so somebody leaves the car wash, the exit door is open for a moment, she whips in there, then the exit door closes, and she's like, gets out of her car, like, all right, how do
I turn this thing on?
How do I turn this thing on? And then realizes that, I can't do it. And now I'm stuck. So what are my options?
It sucks when the best option is drive my car through the bay doors of the car wash and flee. It could be as simple as that. Maybe she was trying to get a free car wash. But this is, as I said, one of those stories where we have a follow-up. And what comes next in this woman's story would kind of imply maybe she's someone who's just up to some very unusual things. So they issued that warrant. Several days later, the woman involved was arrested and she was taken into custody by the local police. But the weird saga doesn't end there. A separate incident occurs at the local jail, which would lead to this woman again appearing in both a bizarre video, but also the news. Here's what happened at jail.
A rare look inside a Sarnia police holding cell showing what officers allege was a sudden, unprovoked attack on one of their own. Police say it happened Saturday morning while 62-year-old Tammy Carey of Windsor was in custody awaiting a bail hearing after another bizarre scene just 2 days earlier, which was also caught on camera. She was arrested Friday night, charged with dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, mischief over $5,000, careless driving, and failing to report an accident. She was held overnight at the Sarnia police station while awaiting bail, which brings us back to that holding cell video. Police allege that around 7:30 Saturday morning, a special constable opened Carey's cell door to hand her a bottle of water when she suddenly lunged. They say a physical confrontation followed, triggering alarms throughout the building. According to police, the officer was able to bring Carey to the ground until others arrived to help. In a statement, Chief Derek Davis said improvements to the detention area are already being considered, including pass-through openings that let officers hand items to prisoners without unlocking the doors. He says, "I am relieved the officer was able to respond to this sudden attack so effectively and that none of our officers were hurt in resolving this incident." Police say Carey suffered minor cuts to her head after hitting the floor and was treated in hospital, then returned to custody. She now faces additional charges, assaulting a peace officer and another charge of mischief under $5,000. After a bail hearing, Carey was released on conditions.
Oh, man. 7:30 in the morning is way too early to be fighting with cops in jail over a bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
After getting arrested for something that happened at a car wash.
Yeah. So similar to the car wash situation, we can't really, I mean, I have a playful theory of her trying to get a free car wash, but that's probably not really what happened. However, so we can't really make sense of why she drove in the wrong way to the car wash, what she was trying to do there. And now here, so she's in jail for the car wash situation. What does she think is going to happen when the police officer opens a jail cell to give her some water and she lunges at him?
Yeah, and when you see the video of her lunging at him, she doesn't look like she's in like kind of like the physical shape to take out the kind of police officer that's guarding the local jail. So I don't know what she was thinking. Well, actually, I have a few thoughts on it, really. One is, why would they design the jail cell that to even pass a glass of water, you would need to open the door to the cell? Mm-hmm. Like, can you not make the bars wide enough that you can at least pass a bottle of water? And they're kind of asking for it there. But yeah, her lunging at him, she didn't have a chance. He very quickly took her to the ground, and she got a couple more charges to the list here. Like, because she's in jail waiting for a bail hearing related to the car wash thing. Whatever her bail would have been is going to be a whole lot harsher now that she's added like assault of a police officer to that. But that said, this is Canada and she's out on bail. It says at the end of that clip, she's now released. So you can do anything here and they'll still release you. You can trash a car wash and try to beat up the cop at jail. You appear before a judge and they still let you go home.
I guess it depends on what she did before this car wash. So if she's got a, pardon the pun, but a clean record.
It's waxed.
Yeah.
You ever do that? When you go to a car wash, sometimes you have the choice to like add like a wax.
Yeah, that's what the color is, all the fancy colors. Have you ever done it?
No, because I often think like wax. Why would I want, like I get like getting wax on the paint and it make it like polished and stuff, but wouldn't the wax just screw with your windows and make them all weird looking? Your glass?
No, it doesn't. I get it every time I do it.
All right, I'll try it sometime.
And it's really fun because like it's the wax is all these different colors, like blue and pink and red and yellow, and when it's putting the wax on your car, your windows completely cover in this like rainbow kind of psychedelic,
like melted ice cream looking stuff. I think I've seen this.
If you took the flavor moon mist and just sprayed it all over your car is what it looks like.
You know, the way you describe it, it does sound nice. And maybe now I understand what the 62-year-old woman was after when she drove into that car wash. I don't understand what she was after when she took the opportunity of getting a glass of water, when she saw getting a glass of water while in jail as an opportunity to, like, I guess, attack a cop and break out of jail related to the car wash thing. It's the dumbest series of events ever. But I guess whatever you're up to, 62-year-old woman in Sarnia, Windsor, you're keeping Canada weird, but I don't know if you're doing it in a way that I endorse. Actually, I know for a fact you're not. Stop doing this stuff.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully there's a part 3 with this woman. What other unreasonable things is she going to get up to?
Yeah, that's good. We say this so often, but this is another trial I would like to sit through. I have a feeling it's not going to be this boring procedural thing. It's going to be like the weirdest episode of Law & Order ever. But I promise you a duo of dumb Canadian crime stories. What we just heard, that was only one story. We've just followed it a little extra. We have an extra weird Canadian crime story to unpack now. I don't have video of this or sound for this, so I do want to call upon someone. I know you have a lot of people there that are capable of reading weird news stories. Of course, you partner up with the mail boy and he kicks in a lot, but you know, it's Halloween. Is there anyone else that we could bring in to maybe read the story of the red car ripper of Selkirk, Manitoba?
Wow, you're really putting me on the spot here to come up with a Halloween friend or a roommate that lives with me that could come in and read this story. Why don't you suggest a Halloween character and I will see what I can do.
Like an old fisherman who lives near a haunted lighthouse? I'll try some AI prompts on you and see if we can come up with something.
Yeah.
So old fisherman, haunted lighthouse, foggy night.
Okay.
Foreboding.
All right. The red car. No, that's not it.
No, that was more salesman.
That was. Yeah.
Okay. So the haunted fisherman at the lighthouse on a stormy night and the newsboy in some weird kind of like Frankenstein thing were like cloned together to become one entity that is going to read the story.
Extra. Read all about it. The red car ripper of Selkirk, Manitoba's scarlet crime spree.
Ooh. Now you can use your regular news voice.
All right, then I will. There's been a strange and very specific crime spree in Selkirk, Manitoba, and it's got police seeing red. RCMP say a 44-year-old man is facing a long list of charges after nearly 24 vehicles, all of them red, had their tires slashed. It started around 9:30 in the morning on October 14th. Witnesses reported a man walking through a parking lot on Jemima Street, using a knife to puncture tires. But he didn't stop there. Police say he kept wandering the neighborhood, slashing more and more tires as he went. By the time it was over, officers counted 45 damaged tires on 23 different vehicles, and every single one of those vehicles was red. A man from Winnipeg was arrested later that day and charged with 23 counts of mischief and 1 count of possessing a weapon dangerous to the public. When reporters asked why he seemed to target only red cars, RCMP said, "As of now, there's no explanation."
Sir, why only red cars? I won't say it. I'll never reveal.
I just like to imagine they just didn't even ask.
Yeah, oh crap, we should figure that out.
Never dawned on us to ask. RCMP suggested there may be additional victims and advised people in the area to take a look before leaving their driveway, especially so if their car is red.
What a story. This is a really weird dumb Canadian crime story. It can't be coincidence. If you go out and just randomly slash the tires of 23 vehicles, the odds that all of those vehicles end up being red, it's mathematically impossible. It's clearly this person has some reason to be targeting red cars. I would suggest he was roaming around looking for red cars and slashing those tires. The police haven't been able to find an explanation. I can only assume they asked and he wouldn't tell them. You're good at coming up with creative explanations for these crimes. I can't think of any reason why, other than someone with a red car pissed him off. Do you have any idea?
Well, the only theory I have is in the same ballpark as what you're suggesting, is that a former lover had a red car, or a former lover who had an affair with someone who had a red car. Okay, here it is, actually.
Solved.
Yeah, I put it together. Okay, so his girlfriend is cheating on him with a man who owns a red car. And he doesn't know what model car it is, and he doesn't know the license plate number. All he knows is that it's a red car. So, in his act of lustful revenge, he is going to slash the tires of every single red car that he can find, hoping eventually that one of them is his wife's or his girlfriend's lover.
It just seems like before he went out slashing the tires of every red car, he should have done a bit more investigation to just get a bit more information on who it is that exactly that wronged him.
I can't see him having some kind of issue with just the color red in general for no other reason.
Some kind of visceral reaction. You know, there is that rumor, I don't know if it's rumor or just like common misunderstanding, that red cars are more expensive to insure. As someone who worked in car insurance for years, the color of your car doesn't come into play. But if you ask around, many people believe for one reason or another that a red car is more expensive to insure. This could be an attack against the misconception that that's the case, or maybe he's trying to manifest that to become true. If I slash the tires on enough red cars, insurers will be, I will force their hand to raise the rates exclusive to red cars. I also thought, like, could this be like some kind of political thing? Because I know maybe that's an American thing. No, in Canada, isn't like the conservatives typically are associated with blue and the liberals are typically associated with red. Mm-hmm. I thought, like, with a lot of weird stuff that happens in the world lately, it seems to have political motivation. So I thought that could be a possibility. I'm just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. I don't know what it could be, and I'm shocked that the police weren't able to figure that out pretty quick. You'd think he'd just tell them. At this point, he's caught with the knife, surrounded by red cars with flat tires. Just give it up, dude.
Yeah. I think the only other way to explain it is just some kind of mental health issue, and the individual is just after the color red.
Vampires drive red cars. It could be something like that. We haven't addressed the elephant in the room here. Is it not kind of cool that we're revisiting tire stories in this creative way?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even make that connection, sadly. I'm disappointed in myself for not dawning on that. Yeah, it is entirely a tire story.
Yeah, this just popped up when I was going through the stories, and I saw this, and I said, "Whoa, a tire story in the news." A man, a lot of different names for him, but the Red Tire Ripper, the Scarlet Stabber. I thought this is a great tire story, and it's a dumb Canadian criminal. It works perfect for Keep Canada Weird, and it's a great final story to lead into our final break of the night. But before we get there, I have a bit of a cautionary voicemail from a correspondent named Kelly. She has a message for you, Aaron, and I think playing it right now after a duo of crime stories is probably appropriate. You've talked a lot about how much you enjoy going for these little walks. You've plugged your TikTok channel in which you take your TikTok followers on these walks with you. You want to tell us about it quickly before I introduce the voicemail? What are you doing on TikTok?
I do have a TikTok account at Aaron Airport where I will film my walks and play some music, not me playing it, but listen to music. And I haven't been posting as much lately as I've wanted to, but I did videotape. I did record. I still say that.
VHS
yeah, I still say that all the time, videotape. I did record a walk this evening because there's some really good Halloween decorations in my neighborhood. So on my walk through the neighborhood, I filmed the houses that had Halloween decorations.
Okay, I like it. You said you haven't been posting a lot lately. Is that maybe because you feel unsafe?
No, it's not the reason.
Okay. I only asked that because Kelly was a little concerned about you, and she has some advice for how you can stay safe on your walks.
Hey, Jordan and Aaron, this is Kelly from Louisiana. I did have a concern that I wanted to voice tonight for Aaron because my husband and I are fellow walking enthusiasts, and we started walking, taking a nightly walk after dinner last summer to, improve our health and mental health and all that good stuff. And when it started to get darker, we started to feel like we were nervous because we live in a neighborhood that has lots of cars, but also sometimes there's, animals and other things. So I went on Amazon and we purchased some safety items, and now we have a headlamp, which one of us wears, and then we also have these reflective kind of like sash things that we put across our bodies. I mean, I guess we don't look super cool, but we've gotten good feedback from our neighbors that when they're driving, it's very easy to see us. But he was expressing some concerns about darkness and safety and things like that. So I just wanted to make sure that our Aaron stays safe and sound and wanted to make that suggestion.
So Kelly suggests you go on Amazon, you buy a headlamp and some reflective gear so you too can be seen well by her neighbors. What do you say to that?
I agree. It's a good practice to have a reflective vest, maybe a light, whatever you feel is appropriate for your neighborhood. I only walk in my neighborhood on the sidewalk once in a while. It's not very often that I do. And I will wear some very light clothing when I do go out. And normally I will stick to walking trails when I go for my walks as much as possible, where I don't have to worry about cars running into me, and I carry a stick with me.
A stick?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've told us.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I deal with it. The two main places I walk, there's a trail at the lake, and then there's a park not far from me that has like a boardwalk that I'll walk around.
Okay.
But sometimes I do walk on the sidewalk, and I do try to wear like this sweater I'm wearing now, which is very light.
It's very light. Does it make you feel good, though, to have someone like Kelly concerned for your well-being?
It makes me feel warm. Yeah, it makes me feel cared for, comforted, and it makes me feel like someone out there cares about me. And that gives me self-worth. And I think that sometimes we can go through life and we can feel that nobody truly ever really sees us. But I feel like she sees me.
Kelly sees you.
Because I'm wearing a reflective vest.
And a headlamp.
And a headlamp.
When you run into your neighbors, and the nicest thing they can say is like, I can really see you when I'm driving my car.
Yeah.
You stand out like a sore thumb, you and your husband, with your headlamps and reflective sashes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to our final break. When we get back, we have another wild story. This one's going to take us to Saskatchewan, and I always enjoy going there.
Yeah, me too. Let's go together.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We're back for our final story of the night, and maybe we've saved the best for last. I've got quite a few emails from correspondents out there about this specific story, suggesting we cover it. The first email that came through was from a listener named Brianna, so I will call out to you specifically, Brianna, for providing this story, but I'll tell you, you were the first of many, so don't let it go to your ego. Let's get into this one. This is an odd story. The small Saskatchewan town of Duck Lake is offering something no Canadian community has ever offered before. It's offering to sell its name.
Duck Lake, a historic town home to just under 600 people. It's located about 90 kilometers northeast of Saskatoon. And for the right price, it can be renamed. The town is inviting businesses to bid for its naming rights. Mayor Jason Anderson says he got the idea after seeing a stadium in the U.S. sell its name for millions.
So I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a try with the town's name.
Anderson says the goal is to breathe new life into the community by funding much-needed upgrades to roads and other infrastructure. Part of his sales pitch, it puts a corporate name literally on the map.
Their name would be on GPS. Their name would be on the weather network. Their name would be on all the signage and on all the maps. And that's not just in Saskatchewan, that's worldwide.
But there's mixed reaction among locals.
I'm so shocked. I didn't think they'd be renaming Duck Lake.
Any publicity is good publicity. As long as it promotes our town, I think it's a good thing.
The town is accepting tenders until March 31st. Then residents will vote on whether or not to rename the town at their next public meeting in April.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being super dumb and 10 being super smart, what do you think of this scheme by the mayor of Duck Lake?
It's somewhere in between, I think.
You think like a 5?
Yeah, I give it a 5, 5.5 maybe.
I give it maybe a 2.5, again, with 1 being dumb. I think this is a stupid idea, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. He's hoping, the bids for this, if you do want to rename this town, opening bidding is at $1 million. The amount of advertising a company could buy for $1 million is far more than what you would get by having a town of 500 people bear your name. The sales pitch the mayor gives in that clip is it's going to have you on the weather network. It's going to have you on Google Maps. These big companies, Pepsi or, Tim Hortons or whatever, they're already on Google Maps because they're on every street corner. And to be on the weather network, if Tim Hortons or Pepsi or whoever's going to buy this wanted to be on the weather network, they just buy an ad on the weather network. They wouldn't buy the naming rights to a town of 500 people. He gets this idea after seeing, it seems like every stadium now has a corporate sponsorship. It used to be the Sky Dome in Toronto. Now it's the Rogers Centre, as an example. That's because these venues, so many people come and go. They're mentioned on the radio and TV constantly because of these big concerts and sporting events on them. Duck Lake, Saskatchewan is a community of 500 people. How many people are ever going to hear about, Tim Hortons, Saskatchewan, the town of 500 people? This thing's nonsense. That's my rant.
Right. And I agree with you on the corporate side of it, but I don't see this as being a corporate play. I see this as being an individual who's extremely wealthy, and they want to have a town named after them. Or they want to give the town a dumb name that they're forced to stick with because they won the bid at $1 million or $2 million, whatever it ends up being. And so they could say, my name is Aaron Airport, so I'm going to pay $1 million, and it's going to be Aaron Airport Town or Aaron Airport Lake or whatever it ends up being. Or it could be someone who's a jerk and is rich, and they're like, I'm going to pay the $1 million. I'm just going to take the D out of Duck Lake and replace it with an F. And then I've paid my $1 million, and then now you're stuck with it.
Whatever company makes this pitch, it goes before town council they can vote on it. And then it seems like there's this other body, maybe provincial or whatever, that can also make the call. So I don't think we have to worry about F-word Lake, although maybe I don't think that'll be an issue.
Well, everybody has their price.
That's true.
And Duck Lake, if they're offered enough money and are willing to do it, then yeah, maybe they would. Maybe they would.
I think more like you're onto something there with it being this kind of private individual. If someone has enough money, why not do it? Remember we had that story. Here's a bit of a callback to a past story. The people put the signs all over town saying, renting signs saying Bubba sucks at fishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it could be someone doing, a rich person playing a practical joke on their friend, being like, haha, I named a town after how bad you suck at fishing. Bubba sucks at fishing Saskatchewan, this sort of thing. That would, that could be interesting. I could see that happening. I think he being the mayor, is probably hoping more so for a corporate sponsorship like the major event centers would. I don't see that happening. All things considered, much like one of the people in that news clip said, any publicity is good publicity. Even if nothing comes out of this, we now know more about Duck Lake than we did before this. But the saying, all publicity is good publicity, seems to only be something someone says when there's bad news about their town or their place. So I think overall, this isn't a good look for Duck Lake. It seems like a little desperate.
But wouldn't you want, like, say if they did change the name, someone buys it, changes it from Duck Lake to Duck with an F Lake, and they make that change, and then they decide, you know what, let's try it because it's going to get a ton of publicity, of actual publicity. And
that would.
And think of the amount of people that would actually want to visit there now because, man, I'm going to F Lake. It's going to be incredible.
And just get your picture in front of the sign.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
It would be insane the amount of tourism that they would end up getting if they changed the name.
Yeah, all the businesses could lean on it too. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to go there, but it's like, I don't know, the small restaurant could just be called like the Effin' Restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people who like, coarse language could show up there. I've told this story on the show before, I think. This is a core memory I have from early 2000s era Halifax. There was this coffee shop that opened. It only stayed open for like 3 or 4 months, I think, before it went out of business. But it was actually called the Explicit Lyrics Cafe. And it was just a regular coffee shop. They sold coffee, tea, muffins, baked goods. I think they had salads and soups. But the whole gimmick was that they played music with bad lyrics. So there'd be like gangster rap or like heavy metal that had bad lyrics, not blasting or anything, just quietly playing. And my friends and I, we would go there just because the whole gimmick of the Explicit Lyrics Cafe was just so bizarre that we just enjoyed listening to, Marilyn Manson or Korn, Limp Bizkit, and early Eminem while drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a small town could benefit financially. Think of the T-shirt sales. They could pay for all of their road repairs just with T-shirt sales alone.
I think
they should
we're onto
consider
something with the idea of either a super offensive or super obnoxious name. If you're a town of 500 people, you need to do what you got to do to get your roads paved and to keep your sewer lines up to date and keep the water running. If it takes renaming your town to like, the F word, maybe that is something special. Maybe this should happen. How much money do you think we could crowdfund with the Keep Canada Weird Army? Do you think we could get $1 million to make that pitch?
No, but we could maybe get $40 to $50.
That's true. Let's leave it to the experts to raise that money and do something with Duck Lake. If there is any updates to the story, if any corporate sponsor or person with $1 million tries to make this happen, we'll keep everybody updated. But this is almost as much time as we have for Keeping Canada Weird tonight. But we got one more thing to do. You want to go out with a voicemail? I know you enjoy these.
I love them. Yes, let's do it.
We have a voicemail from someone you've banned from sending voicemails. This is a listener named Amy. I saved it for the very end because I worried if I played it up at the front of the show, you would just walk off the set here. Amy is calling in both to request amnesty from the ban, but also just to give some insight on the type of people that want to be banned by you. Here's Amy.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Amy in Oregon in the States again, and I'm the Amy who was banned because of my voicemail about consensual adult banning. And I recognize that you might have created a monster here by unbanning and then rebanning Carolyn on this week's episode, but I'm taking this as an opportunity to just call in again with a couple of things I wanted to share. First, I wanted to thank Aaron for coming out. You just came out hard on the kink shaming thing with Jordan, and you were just an advocate for consensual adult banning. And I think that that's lived in the shadows long enough. So I appreciate that. And then also, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate my voicemail being played on Keep Canada Weird and not Encounters with Creeps, because I was a little bit worried about that after my directness. Okay. I don't know if this means, I hope this means an unbanning and then a rebanning, but I understand if you don't want to just keep going down that pathway with the band among us. All right. Hope you're well, and I love your show.
What do you have to say to Amy? I think she's requesting amnesty, but she also sees you as a bit of a defender for the people out there who enjoy being banned from podcasts.
Yeah, she's right. We have been, well, I'm not someone who likes to be banned. I like to ban. So that is a very clear distinction that needs to be made. That there are, of the banning community, there are subcategories that lie within it. And we do need to be respectful of that. And I think that Amy has now unlocked, not Amy, but, a few of the listeners have now unlocked a new banning subcategory. There are those who ban, that's me. There are those who like to be banned. That's a sizable portion of our listeners. And then there are those who like to take it a step further. They like to be banned, then brought back in, and then rebanned. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what Amy is as well.
Amy and Carolyn. Yeah, it's the sort of like they want to be kept hanging on. And I think what they like is that thin line between banned and welcomed back. That's where they really get off.
Mm-hmm. So, Amy, if that's what you're into, and you're obviously consenting to be brought back in and then rebanned. So I certainly have no problem doing that for you. So if we could Amy and I could just have a moment alone, if you don't mind, just kind of plugging your ears and closing your eyes for a second. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just you and me now, Amy. So I'm just going to do as you requested, and we'll take it from there. Amy, you are brought back in. Welcome back. And now, Amy, you are banned. You are banned very strictly, and you are banned forever, and you can't come back. So.
Okay. Can I come back in now? You good?
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've done a lot tonight, Aaron. We've kept Canada Weird for the 186th time. This isn't our Halloween special, but happy Halloween to everyone out there. If you're hearing this on Friday, if you're hearing this on Saturday, I hope you had a great night last night and you're not full of cavities and sugar headaches from everything you ate overnight. We've done a lot. Let's put a bow on this. You ready?
I'm ready.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan Bus Stop, Backhoe, Bonaparte. Until next time.
Next time I go through the car wash, on your recommendation, I will try the wax feature. And next time I see a red car, I may just flip the frig out and kick a window in.
Mm-hmm. And Jordan, until next time, what would you give the newsboy if he was trick-or-treating at your house this Halloween?
I'll tell you, I got some full bars for special costumes and special people. Newsboy comes to my door. He's getting what I call a Mr. Beast Feastable. That's a big, delicious chocolate bar. I give him one of those.
And the newsboy in return will give you some news. And the news is Canada's weird.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.